This is Jamey with Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to share my favorite mechanism in the game Holi. I believe the game is pronounced Holi. It's H-O-L-I, as you can tell from the video title. Holi has a very distinct component in the game that I think is really, really interesting, and it is this 3D structure. It's basically a 6x6 grid multiplied by 3 and stacked. This grid does something really, really interesting in the game. The entire idea in Holi is that you are trying to work your way up this grid. You start at the bottom. You have a player meeple that's on the bottom, and you are trying to surround yourself with tokens or be surrounded by tokens so you can move up a level and then move up another level. I'm sure there are strategies that vary around that, but that seemed like one of the core aspects of the game because one of the main things you're doing on your turn, or often doing on your turn, is that you are spreading paint tokens, or whatever they're called in the game. I'll call them paint here. I believe it is a type of paint. You are spreading or shooting out paint tokens, and they are dropping down these different tiers. So if I'm up at this top level, and I shoot out some paint tokens based on one of these configurations, those paint tokens will drop down to the next level unless there are already paint tokens on those same spaces of the next level. And the reason that's important is because at the end of the game, you look at each of your paint tokens on each of these levels, and they're worth 1 point if they're on this bottom level, 2 if they're on the second level, and 3 if they're at the top level. So you're trying to basically not have your paint tokens cascade down. You're trying to play them, position your meeple in such a way that you can scatter them on this top level so they don't fall down. So there are already paint tokens below them on the layer below them. And all that I think is just really, really fascinating that they've added this 3D element to the game, and that you have to, you're not just scattering out paint tokens blindly and just trying to get as many as possible out there. You're trying to get them in a specific space so they lock into this level 3. I mean, that's the mechanism, and I think it's really, really clever, adding this 3D element. There aren't many games, especially, I wouldn't call this a Euro game, but it's an abstract game. There aren't many games that I'm aware of that have this 3D element, especially where the 3D element, you have to constantly kind of look below you or maybe look up. Maybe the most recent one that comes to mind is Burger Brothers 2. Other Burger Brothers have these different layers, these different stories that you have to look at, different levels. But in Burger Brothers 2 specifically, they have a component that elevates the second level, so you can actually see that level in relation to the level below it, and that's kind of for a dramatic component and for an interesting spatial puzzle where you're not just looking at the level that you're on, but also the level that's below you. In Holi, I wouldn't say that. Well, there are a few times where you are looking above because you can only move up if there's an available space for you to move up to, directly above where you currently are. So you are looking above you a little bit, but for most of the game, as you move up, you are only looking down after that. So yeah, that's my favorite mechanism tied to my favorite component in Holi. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts about about Holi or other games that have a 3D component that adds a really interesting puzzle to the game, or any other games that might benefit from a 3D puzzle in the game like this. Thanks.